Everybody. Welcome to Prepare Your Shelf for the week of September 16. My name is Amy. I'm one of the buyers here. And we are heading into the fall of busy book season. Lots and lots of great books are coming out in time for the holidays. And so I'm going to give you some rapid recommendations. I've got a bushel full of recommendations here. Something for everybody, all genres, nonfiction, kids, YA. So hang with me. We're going to go real quickly. And hopefully you find something to either prepare your own shelf or to help prepare some of your gift-giving shelves for this coming season. We're going to start off with Among the Burning Flowers by Samantha Shannon. This is a fantasy. It's a new novella. She's the author of Priory of the Orange Tree, and this is a direct prequel to that. If you are someone like me who is very intimidated by the 800-page brick that is Priory of the Orange Tree, this will be an approachable entry point for new readers or for people who just want to try out and learn a little bit more about the world that is Priory of the Orange Tree and Samantha Shannon's writing. It's, just a measly 288 pages that could just give you a little snippet of that world. So that's Among the Burning Flowers. Another fantasy novella is The Summer War by Naomi Novik. This is a standalone. Naomi Novik is the author of Spinning Silver, Uprooted, the Scholomance trilogy. This is a novella about a young witch who accidentally curses her brother to a life without love and has to try to find a way to undo that curse. So you've got this accidental curse, you've got a magical forest, a grand palace, a quest for true love, and Naomi Novik's beautiful fantasy writing. So that is The Summer War. For a little fun fantasy romance, Wickedly Ever After by R. Lee Fryer is a fairy tale rom-com fantasy that's like The Princess Bride meets Shrek meets Good Omens. It is about Wicked Witch Hector West and Good Witch Ida North, who have to work together to maintain the balance of good and evil while antagonizing each other and maybe falling in love. The extra special thing about this, in addition to it just being a really fun rom-com fantasy, is that it is going to include black line illustrations throughout that you can color. I think this would be a perfect gift idea for your cozy rom-com fantasy reader because they can personalize and color the book as they're reading it. So that's Wickedly Ever After. Another romance for you, Hopelessly T-Voted by Audrey Goldberg-Ruoff. I am a sucker for a good pun, especially a tea-related pun. So this was an automatic yes for me. It is about a witch who returns to his spooky family manor and joins forces with his former crush when his parents' spirits warn them that there's a sinister threat coming. It is lighthearted in tone, but still also addresses some heavier issues like trauma, grief, personal growth, resilience. I think of it like the banter of The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling with the sort of haunting, bittersweet love story of Ashley Poston's The Dead Romantics, but then also some like Beetlejuice Addams Family vibes, like perfect spooky season cozy read. That's Hopelessly T-Voted. On the completely other side of the spooky season spectrum, we have a horror called Exiles by Mason Coyle. This is a creepy AI-infused locked room mystery set on a remote outpost on Mars. 3 astronauts land on Mars for a mission that they do not expect to come back from. And then they get there and discover that the AI bots who were sent ahead to set up the mission, something's gone wrong. One of them's gone rogue. None of their stories match. They might be sentient. Creepy. It's described as a techno horror version of The Martian with psychological horror, sci-fi, and possibly sentient AI bots in space. So that's for you. Moving along, we've got a dystopian fiction called The Book of Guilt by Kathryn Chidgey. This is set in 1979 England in an alternate history world where nobody won World War II. And so you have sort of the impact of that. It's about 3 brothers who are the only boys left at an orphanage that has a very dark and sinister secret. Every day they have to take a medication to protect themselves from some mysterious illness, and then their lives start to intersect with another young person in the area. It's a mix of literary, dystopian, and science fiction, following in the traditions of Kazuo Ishiguro, Ted Chiang, and Margaret Atwood. So that one looks really interesting. In our general fiction, we have the highly anticipated second novel from Angela Florney called The Wilderness. Her first book was called The Turner House. It was very popular with book clubs. It was a National Book Award finalist. This book is a novel about 5 millennial Black women over the course of their 20-year friendship as they move from like young adulthood into midlife. This is already a finalist for the Kirkus Prize for Fiction this year. It's on all of the buzz lists for other prizes. And so check that one out before all the awards lists tell you to do so. Some nonfiction that I think would pair really well with The Wilderness is called The Water Bearers. This is a memoir of mothers and daughters by Sasha Bonet. It tells the American story through 3 generations of Black mothers. She's been likened to Isabel Wilkerson, who wrote Caste and The Warmth of Other Suns, in her way that she can sort of weave cultural criticism into talking about American history. And this book specifically talks about the crucial role that Black women have played throughout American history. So if you wanted to maybe get your book club together and read those two together, fiction, nonfiction would make a great pairing. Another nonfiction for your weird science folks. Replaceable You, Adventures in Human Anatomy by Mary Roach. Mary Roach is the queen of weird science books. She wrote Stiff, which is about morgues and cadavers. She wrote Fuzz, which is about animals and the weird things that happen in national parks. She wrote Packing for Mars, which is just about the weirdness that is like living in space or traveling to space. So this one is an exploration of the quest to recreate the impossible complexities of human anatomy. Nobody does weird science like Mary Roach. So if you're either not really a nonfiction person but want to give it a try, this would be a great way to get into it. She writes funny, really accessible nonfiction about weird topics. Another nonfiction that we are very excited about is Good Things, Recipes and Rituals to Share with People You Love. This is a new cookbook from Samin Nosrat, who wrote Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat, which was huge the last couple of years. I think this will be a great one again for holiday gift giving, or if you're having holiday gatherings, this would be a great place to find some new recipes. This is 125 all original recipes from Samin Nosrat, and they are intended to build community and be shared with people. I think that is something that we're seeing a lot of right now, is themes of connection and community, and that's what this cookbook is really geared towards, is sort of gathering together and sharing the things that you love, including food. One last nonfiction for you is a humor book. This is exactly my kind of humor. It's called Hot Victorians, Meet Your Dream Man from the Past by Erin Radford Watley. It is from the very popular Hot Victorians Instagram account. This book would be perfect for fans of the Ministry of Time novel that came out last year. If you really liked the time travel romance with a man from Victorian times, this is the book for you. If you've ever thought that you were born in the wrong century and would really prefer to like swipe right and left on men from Victorian and Edwardian times, this is the book for you. It's essentially a collection of dating profiles for actual men from Victorian and Edwardian times. I think this will be a perfect gift book, like funny thing for the holidays. So add that to your list. Moving along, let's move to some of our younger readers. The first young adult novel I have for you is called Hecate, the Witch by Nikita Gill. Nikita Gill is my all-time favorite contemporary poet. She has several collections of poetry and like mythological retellings for adults. She's very good at doing empowering, beautifully lyrical retellings of fairy tales and mythology. This one is obviously the retelling of Hecate from mythology. It's the first book in a new trilogy. It's a coming of age story about Hecate, who has to leave her home during the War of the Gods, and is left in the underworld to sort of find her own way. It combines that story with Nikita Gill's own experiences growing up in both Kashmir and Northern Ireland during times of war, and her own experiences as a refugee, to really touch on those themes in an accessible, beautiful way. It's a novel written in verse, and the packaging for this one, gorgeous. Sprayed edges, foil, a little, only for the first edition, a little slip case. It's going to be beautiful. Another young adult mythology adjacent book is called If Looks Could Kill by Julie Berry. This is it's historical fiction with a twist. It's a twisted true crime thriller mythology mashup pitting Jack the Ripper, against Medusa. And I don't really have anything else to say about that except that I'm intrigued. So, if looks could kill. Finally, for young adults, we have The Golden Boy's Guide to Bipolar by Sonora Reyes. She is the author of one of our staff favorite books, The Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School. This is a companion, so it takes one of the characters that you met in that book and tells his story of dealing with a severe mental illness, bipolar disorder. It is honest and captivating and hopeful, but it doesn't offer like a magic cure where all of a sudden by the end, snap, he's going to be better. It's really about him learning to live with it and the people in his community. It's also very well timed for Latinx Hispanic Heritage Month, which starts on September 15 and goes through October 15. So if you're looking for a new book for your Hispanic Latinx Heritage TBR, add that one. Moving a little bit younger for our middle grade readers, The 9 Moons of Hanyu and Luli by Karina Jan Glazer. She is the author of the Vanderbeeker series, which is one of our favorites. This is a new dual timeline historical fiction with a magical twist. It follows a boy who lives in the year 731 in China and a girl who lives in 1931 New York. And there are caves and con men and storms and art thieves and magical, possibly magical, mysterious tigers. Looks very interesting, and it's going to be very inviting and perfect for your reluctant readers or your readers who are just transferring from chapter books into more middle grade. The chapters are short and they often end on a cliffhanger, and there are also some illustrations throughout, and the story just keeps on moving. So for your reluctant readers, all ages, or those who are just transitioning into the longer middle grade books, check out The 9 Moons of Hanyu and Luli. Another middle grade book from a well-known author, The Experiment by Rebecca Stead. She wrote When You Reach Me, which won the Newbery Award several years ago. I've lost count. But this is about a 6th grade boy who seems like a typical kid, family, homework, whatever. But he and his family are from another planet, and they are now being called back to their mothership because the experiment of having them on Earth, something's gone wonky. So it's a fast-paced coming-of-age novel with aliens. It asks universal questions about how we figure out who we want to be and whether it's ever too late to change. So I think that will be also really good for your middle readers. And finally, I've got 2 picture books for you. The first one is called If We Were Dogs by Sophie Blacksall. We love Sophie Blacksall's illustrations. She's won the Caldecott Medal twice for her just gorgeous, gorgeous illustrations. This story explores the challenges of young first friendships through imaginative play as they imagine if we were dogs, what kind of dogs we would be. If you are a dog person, all sorts of dogs are represented in these illustrations. And for young kids figuring out first friendships and conflicts and negotiating all of those things, this would be a great story. And then finally, a wordless picture book called The House That Floated by Guo Zhang. This is a gorgeous story about a family who lives in a house by the sea as water levels are starting to rise and how they have to work together to save their home. It is inspired by true stories of communities who had to relocate their houses. If you've never picked up a wordless picture book and explored that, they are great for all ages, all reading levels, all language levels. They're great for reading comprehension, for storytelling, sequencing. There's so much you can do with a wordless picture book, and the pictures in this one are gorgeous. So there's your bushel of rapid fire recommendations. I hope you found something either to prepare your own shelf, to prepare your holiday shelves, no matter what, read on, and we'll see you next week.